Hey everyone, this is Stephen Devlin of MacDev Financial.
Hi, everyone. This is Michele Devlin, CEO of MacDev Financial, and welcome back to Financial Control for Life. So, Steve, what is the topic of the session today?
We're really excited about this one, Michele. We're going to talk about rewiring your brain for financial success and talk about our behavior around money.
Great. And I think along those lines, how are we going to start this off? What's the most important thing about, our behavior around money?
Well, day-to-day working with clients, we always talk about gauging their financial success, gauging their behavior, and coming up with a plan to help them achieve their goals short-term and long-term.
There are some really important things that you have to consider about money and your behavior around money and how you're going to change your behavior with money. And those three things are, what are your goals? That's one of the most important things. What are your goals? The second thing is accountability. And the third thing is, what are you going to use to do that? And in our case, we use dividend paying whole life. And so just to go over those things, and your goals are short-term and long-term goals. And those are the things that you're going to have to set in order to have a benchmark to reach for. And then there's the accountability. And in accountability, when we talk about that, it's really sticking to your strategic plan and holding yourself accountable for the things that you want to do and how you want to do them. So, what do you want out of life? Hold yourself accountable. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this to improve my credit rating. And then the vehicle of dividend paying whole life. So, what is that? And I think that this is an opportunity for Steve to jump in and just tell us a bit more about the goals, accountability, and how dividend paying whole life can help directs you to better money behavior.
Yeah, that's great points, Michele. We always want to know, hey, I say I want to do this, Stephen. I have this particular goal. I want it to be done at this stage of my life. So it is measurable. It's time-based, as we talked about. So what we do is we drive a roadmap and we show everybody, okay, here's what you told me that's important to you around money. Because we always ask that, is what is important to you about money and how are you going to achieve those goals? That means how am I going to get that money to have that goal happen? So we're going to make sure we have the roadmap set up. And then we're going to make sure that, like you said really well, is accountability. That tough love needs to come in, because we're so excited when a client all of a sudden says, hey, Stephen, I was able to do that. And for us, we love the fact of using dividend paying whole life insurance to help us achieve these goals, because we're living proof. We've been doing this for over 16 years. And what it's allowed us to do is shift our mindset around where are we going to reside our money, and how are we going to make sure that actually money is there when that goal actually appears. And I say, okay, Michele, hey, what do you think about us buying that property, in Vancouver? Or how about buying that boat? That's a major goal for us. Make sure that we have that money accountable to achieve it, right? So does that really kind of make sense?
Yeah, those are great points, Steve. And also, how about, like, besides the goals, what about that sort of like assets versus liquid cash flow? Could you get into that? Because that affects how we deal with money. And that's kind of a more of the mechanics of it. And it does affect how we think about money. So if you could go into that, that'd be great.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, we talk about myths around money. One of the big myths is investing versus saving. And it's a big difference between investing, because you could lose all your money, whereas saving is your actual money is there. And we talk about, okay, you've got a lot of assets on paper and you look really good on your net worth, but actually you're actually cash flow poor. And you're frustrated and stressed out because you don't have any actual liquid money to achieve that particular goal that you say is so important to you. So assets are great, but I think end of the day that we work with business owners and people that have cash flow needs at ongoing times. We want to make sure that that money is accessible. So when you say, hey, Stephen, here's that goal, well, bingo, there you go. You actually have that money to achieve that goal, and they're so excited to know, wow, that's incredible, Stephen. Thank you so much for all your help and guiding me and being accountable to what I want to achieve long term.
And that kind of brings us into that kind of scarcity and abundance mindset. And I think that most people think that Abundance is about the numbers of like how much wealth you have. And in reality, it's how you think about your money. And, there's the scarcity model. And, just a really quick story. We're sitting around with a bunch of friends in like 2008, 2009. And, the markets weren't good and things weren't looking good for us. We're thinking, are we going to have to go bankrupt? Like it was a really serious concern for us. And we're sitting with our friends and we're all in the same boat. We're all small business owners and, thinking, how are we going to get through this? And one of our friends pipes up and says, it's just numbers. And we all stopped and thought, yeah, why are we putting this fear, this scarcity kind of model in place when we know how to work with numbers?
Yeah.
So that was it. How can I change my lot? How can I move forward? How can I change things? That's the abundant thinking. So instead of, being in that model of, oh, how is this affecting me? You say, well, how can I change things so that I can move forward? And that's the abundance that we're talking about. And in that, it's establishing accountability for that, looking at the numbers, going towards a goal, saying it's just numbers, it's something we're going to have to work through and get out of. And sometimes we can really get caught up in that emotion attached to money. And sometimes we need to remove ourselves a little bit so that we can move forward. And it's accountability to work towards those goals instead of, perhaps going after that instant gratification. Oh yeah, everybody knows I love my Fluvogs. I'm in a position I can do that. I can buy my Fluvog shoes. However, when I was younger, I couldn't. That's the thing, is making those goals, and are they important enough for you to do the things you need to do to get there?
Yeah, amazing. And then for us, it's all about learning about delayed gratification and making sure that we have that goal and we visualize it and we put it on that vision board. But Michelle and I have gone through things where we just make it happen. We say we want to do something and we're going to make it happen, and it is delayed because it's just not instant. A lot of people want instant. So we teach that delayed, and it's so satisfying when you know that you have that goal, and then bingo, clients call me up, hey, I have X amount of money available in my policies. I'm so excited, Stephen. Can we get that? Yes, you're in control. So it kind of segues into, for us personally, we want to have a financial life full of peace and calm and opportunity. And we want to have that abundant mindset. So for our life and for the last 16 years, our perfect asset has been dividend paying whole life insurance, which every day that we live and breathe this, we just want to shout it from the mountains because it's done so much for our life and our goals. And that's the cool thing is we call it kind of the perfect asset class, right? And we want to start teaching people that this can be a really incredible tool in their lives to help them achieve those goals and get that mindset on abundance and accountability.
Yeah, and for us, the participating whole life has allowed us to have that cash flow to build our wealth so that we can actually live the lifestyle that we want to have. And there's been so much talk about you know, the conditions in Canada and economic uncertainty, especially after COVID and everything else. However, we did quite well, and so did our clients who had their policies to fall back on, because not only was it a growth model for us, it was an emergency fund for those who needed it. And we were fortunate enough that we've been able to use ours for investment properties and things like that. However, during COVID, there were clients who had to use it to dig out. They had to, float themselves through. So they used their dividend paying whole life policies to do that. They took out a policy loan. So maybe you could talk a little bit about why that is so perfect, Steve. Is that flexibility of the product in order to make those dreams come true and to live the life that you want to live financially.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to our situation in a way when you and I were facing that severe financial problem in our life. that this thing came to us, and we went through a very difficult time financially, and we're very blessed to actually be able to find out about it back then from an incredible friend of ours who told us about a couple books that changed our life. Literally, a book can change your life and not just sit on a shelf. It's actually something that we integrated, and why we love it so much is because it helped us achieve the goal that we wanted to do, was eliminate the banks, not rely on the banks for our well-being, to create innovative ideas around our cash flow, to have flexibility, to have that financial control for life that we're talking about here, right? Is having this thing fast forward. I can't believe how fast time has gone, but I'm looking at this thinking, my gosh, I have been able, and Michele has been able to save this money, but we've been able to also use our money while it's growing. And that is the biggest thing about this, is our money in the past was trapped, and it was always coming up and then going down. Either we pulled money out or the markets didn't work out. So that's why we call it the perfect asset class, and why we want to start educating more and more Canadians about how they can incorporate this in their life, business or personal, by the way.
We've covered a lot of ground today. It was over a very short amount of time, actually. And so I want to give you some key takeaways that we covered today. And those takeaways are, in order to achieve your goals, you need some long-term commitment. You need to commit to what you are going to do to get there. And, to shift your mindset, you need to think outside of the box. Like, the box you're in, think outside of it. How are you going to get to the financial life that you want? How are you going to gain financial control? And be coachable. So be open to what you're being told, what you are learning, what you are hearing, seeing, feeling. Be open to that and be coachable and take in the information and really think about it. And then, you should be pressure testing your financial situation. Go in and look at what your financial condition is today. What is it, and how can you move forward? And that question, how can, is really, really important.
Thank you, Michele. It was awesome. Hey, just want to let everybody know this has been incredible. If you have some questions or want to learn more, we've got tons of resources. You can check out macdevfinancial.com. We have a cool money mindset quiz there as well. And if you'd like, you can also book in for a 30-minute discovery call. Thank you so much. This has been amazing. Take care.
Thanks so much.